Buddy, Sodor Santa Fe Warbonnets 08 here. This time I'm going to be doing a video of a countdown of my top 5 favorite Arthur episodes. Yes, that's right, you heard it here. My top 5 favorite Arthur episodes. Now I know what you're going to be thinking. Why would a college person like you be watching Arthur? Well, for one thing, I used to watch Arthur all the time when I was in elementary school. Or, no, wait, when I was like in, I think high school or middle school. I don't remember. And also, I had a friend from high school who loves Arthur as much as I do. And as much as Thomas as well. So, yeah. So, here we go are my top 5 favorite Arthur episodes. Number 5, The Return of the King. In that episode, Arthur and his classmates go to a medieval fair, but then this time they are joined by a rival. This time they had to compete against a rival school, Glenbrook. And well, they succeed in beating the Lakewood students. Well, at the end, yeah. I like this episode because it shows medieval time stuff. And the highlight of this episode was when Arthur pulled the sword out. And I love that medieval theme whenever on cues. I love the cues for that. I love those cues. Alright, number 4, DW Copycat. In this episode, DW copies her brother Arthur. After a while, Arthur just starts to assume that she's just playing along, that she's just playing a game on him. But after a while, he notices that DW just starts doing everything he does, even so much as going into the boys' bathroom. In the end, Arthur tells DW, just stop copying me, you know? And then, after that, she just does her normal thing. Now, I like this episode. It was pretty funny, you know? Seeing your younger sister copy you. Now, that's pretty funny. And my favorite part of this episode is DW copying Arthur. Number 3, DW rides again. In this episode, DW wants to ride a bike like her brother Arthur and his friends. But she keeps falling off. So, she tries and learns. But she ends up failing. In the end, DW starts to ride and eventually gets great at it. The highlight of this episode was having Kate and Pal watch DW try and ride her bike and then ends up failing. I also like the flashbacks. I also like the daydream sequence of when DW rides her bike really fast past Arthur and Buster, and yeah. Oh yeah. And the highlight of this episode is the highlight and/or funny part of this episode is DW keeps trying to ride a bike but fails. Now I know that may seem harsh, but you just couldn't help but laugh. I mean, it is a cartoon, but still. Number 2, Arthur goes to camp. In this episode, Arthur and his friends go to camp. Go away at Meadow Crow Camp to compete in the annual scavenger hunt. By camp, they had to compete against Camp Horsewater. Eventually, Camp Horsewater eventually wins. Eventually, Camp Horsewater is almost close to winning, but thanks to Brain, Arthur, and their friends, they win the scavenger hunt and put in placing first. The highlight of this episode was Arthur writing his family postcards to his family and sending them. And my number one episode is Buster's Faraway Friend. In this episode, Arthur and Buster write a book, but then Buster suddenly gets news that he has to go away for a few months with his dad. Arthur doesn't seem bothered by this, but until he finally has to go, it really hits him hard. The highlight of this episode was the funny part of this episode was Arthur and Buster saying goodbye to Buster's favorite places, including Buster saying goodbye to his bike. Now, I chose that episode as number 1 because, yes, I know, it can be hard not seeing your friend for a few months if they have to go away for some time. It's, pretty sad, it's somewhat sad, but eventually they come back, Eventually they do come back. So, yeah, those are my top 5 favorite Arthur episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.